Money makes the world go round, the world go round. Do you want 30 grand? Let's see how you do it. And a warm welcome to one and all. If this is your first time here, my name is Langers. I am the overgrown child that is the Scruffy Trader. What I'm trying to do with this channel is kind of put a different slant on trading and maybe think of it in a different way, putting it in the real world if you like. So if you like trading and you want to see some more, do click that subscribe button because it genuinely helps and motivates me to do more. And if you've got a query, drop it in the comments because I answer every single one of them. So what's the big fella banging on about today? What's 30 grand on the board for? Well, it's a baseline. And the idea is to start looking at trading as a job, not a get rich quick scheme. And I know you look at that and you think, 30 grand? That's a colossal amount of money. That's get rich. No, it's not. It's my salary. It's what I base my working year on. Because that's how I do things. I go from tax year to tax year, April to April. And if I do 30 grand in a year, fabulous. That allows me to pay my bills, drive a reasonably nice car and have a holiday when I choose, sort of thing. So I'm happy with that. And anything above that is brilliant. Anything below that, well, I need to try harder. But how do you get there in the first place? Yes, you need a plan. That is kind of goes without saying. But behind that plan, there has to be bits of information. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of jog notes on here just to get your mind whirring. And then I'm going to flip over onto the computer screen and I'm going to quickly show you some figures that might surprise you somewhat, because hitting 30 grand in a year is not as hard as you actually think. So we know we've got a plan. So what is the plan? Well, the first one is you need your strategy. You need to understand what your strategy is. Now, it could be something as simple as the golden cross or a level bounce. If you don't know what they are, the golden cross, the GC, is a 50 MA crossing through the 200 MA. Now it's normally on a day chart, and what you do is you enter on the cross and you either hold or you target accordingly on its way up. That's a very, very simple strategy. I personally, well, depends on what you're wanting to achieve, because that's a day chart. You may want to be a day trader like what I am. You can have what's called a level bounce, support and resistance, support and resistance. As soon as the price comes above, closes twice, you enter above there and then you hold it up to the next level. It's a watered version of using support and resistance. Or you wait for the price to come up, bounce and go back down to the next level. Working zones. Alright. So let's just assume you have your strategies in place. Now I do, and I know what my rule base is to it, and I follow it. But I also know what the expectancy is. And that's the next part. See, if you're going in on a golden cross, you don't actually know what its expectancy is because it's trend based. Could be 50 pips, could be 500 pips. You don't actually know. If you're going on a level bounce type strategy, you actually know where your exit points are because you're entering on one level and you're exiting on the next level, and you can take profits on the way up to it. So for argument's sake, you're coming in here and there's an easy 20 pip gap between the two, and you know through experience, as I do, using the right chart, the right product, how far it can move, you can work out the expectancy. And you do that through journaling, you know, keeping your records. And mine is roughly about 20 pips. All right, this is day trading, by the way, guys. So I know if it gets in, I've got a high expectancy to get 10 to 20 pips out of this move. Anything over that is brilliant. So the baseline becomes 20 pips. You could even be conservative and say my baseline is 10 pips. But we use 20 for today because that is the running average. Okay, so we now know what the pip is going to be. How many are you going to get? And in this case, 20 pips. So we're building a baseline. Got a strategy. I know it does 20 pips. How do I turn that into 30 grand? Well, you've got to start working on your mind, your greed, your fear factors, the agitated sort of person that you might be. And why do I say agitated? Because when you switch your screen on and it goes against you straight away, you do get agitated. And that agitation can be a problem. What you're better off doing is being patient. So that has a lot to do with your mindset, and it has a lot to do with how you trade. Because if you're going in and you want it now, you've seen it. You know, I've got the computer on, I've got my magazine with the new car I want to buy, give me a trade. You've already lost. Because you're taking a punt. You're not waiting, you're just trying to dive in. Whereas if you mark your chart up properly, you know what your strategy is, you wait for your rules to fall into place. Now, it might take 3 or 4 hours before it comes into play. But you wait. So your mindset has a lot to do with getting you to your goal. And that's what this is all about. It's about a goal. And my goal is 30 grand. So I know the intro to this sort of thing is like, don't get it. Don't know what he's working at. You know, it's just waffle. It's not. It's trying to get you to think about creating a plan that not only involves your strategy, it involves your expectancy, but also involves you as a person and your mindset. Now, if you can start writing that into a plan, you're probably onto a good footing. So let me jump onto the computer screen. And I'm just going to show you how relatively easy it is to find 30 grand.
Well, we're waiting.
Okay guys, so I'm going to flip a spreadsheet on. I'm going to do a couple of numbers with you, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on this. So just bear with me just a second. So when you look at something like this, you're automatically going to be going, what the hell is that? You know, and I don't blame you. But the thing with trading is you have to break it down to its smallest component all the time. And if you think about the charts and you think, well, what chart do I trade off? There's nothing wrong with trading off a 5-minute chart, but your information might come from a daily chart. But the price is identical on both the charts. They're in the exact same place. The 5-minute is just zoomed in and broken down to its smallest component. Well, you could go further than that to a minute chart, I suppose. But what I'm driving at is, if you look at a daily or a weekly chart, it doesn't mean a great deal to you because it's too big. But if you zoom it into a 5-minute chart, just so you can get right into the nitty-gritty, the price is at the same place on both charts. You can just see how it's made up a little bit easier on an hourly, a 15 or a 5-minute chart. That's what I'm trying to achieve with this spreadsheet. I'm trying to take 30,000 from like a oh my god figure into a bite-sized chunk that I can just aim at each day, and then each day I can work on making it a little bit better. So the way this sheet works, I can put any figure I want in there and it'll auto calculate. Now we decided that we're looking for 30 grand. Okay. Well, what does 30 grand mean per day, per week, per month? Well, it's very simple. I've worked this on 48 working weeks because I'm assuming you like holidays. So it breaks down to 125 a day, 625 a week, 2.5 grand a month, gives you 30,000. Simple stuff. Okay. So straight away, without going down into your pip counts and everything, you can see what your daily target is. Your daily target is 125. So now you know this information. You need to drill that down further. And this goes back to the whiteboard. And you look at your strategy and its expectation. So if you're comfortable with your strategy, whatever it happens to be, and you know what its expectancy is, you can then start sizing accordingly to create your goal. Now my goal here is 30 grand. Okay. But I said to you, I know that a trade is on average 20 pips, right? Just for rule of thumb. So based on one trade a day, just one, at 20 pips, I need to now figure out how big my bid size is, or my position size, lot size, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Now, if I started at 50 pence, because that's all my account will take, I have to achieve 250 pips a day, which equates to 12 trades. Well, it's 12.5 trades a day. Too much. So I know straight away, looking at my target, if I can only afford 50p, it ain't happening. You know, I need to sort of downgrade what I'm looking at. Now on the other side of this spreadsheet, you see a set of numbers here. This will tell you what the expectancy is of that 50p. Well, if I did it once a day, 20 pips, it'll get me a tenner, which is 50 quid a week, up to 2.5 grand a year. So you can look at it this way. You think, well, I'm working, I haven't got a lot of money, but I can afford 50 pence a trade. It's not that much. You know, you can do it on sub £500. Look for one trade at 20, and you do it every day, and you can do it at the end of the night, whether it's on a 4-hour chart or whatever, and you can generate yourself 2.5 grand a year. Now, what you do with that 2.5 grand is up to you. You might think, right, okay, if I do 2.5 grand this year, I'm going to keep 1,000. Maybe have a treat or something like that, have a little family holiday. And next year, I'm going to add the 1,400 into the pot that I started with, and I'm going to do the process again, but my bid size could be bigger. And then you do the whole process again, and this is compounding up, treating trading as a job. But if we just want our 30 grand, if we move down, and you see these days are counting down till we get to 1, it's here. So what you need is a shade under 6 quid per pip. Now this is not out of the ordinary, guys. You got 5 grand in a broker, you'll easily do £6 a pip. You know, you're pushing the outer limits, you're better off with about 10, but it can be done. And if you're looking for just one trade a day, you're going to get your 30 grand, one a day. And that's what it kind of equates to on this side. I mean, the figures are slightly out, but it kind of gets the general idea. Okay. It's as simple as that. And that's what you're looking for all the time. You're looking to achieve where you want to be. So where we're at, well, the caught between the two of you. So say £6.50, just devil's advocate, £6.50 is going to get you your 30 grand. Okay. But that's how trading's done. It's about breaking down to the smallest point. And if you can get your position size to say 10 quid a point, you don't even have to do 20 pips. You know, say your system does 10. Well, there you go. That's where you need to be. Here, 10 pips, you need a position size of about 12, 13 quid. So it takes money to make money, guys. Can't get away from that. But what you can do is you can plan it. And that's the idea of today's video. It's really just to get you to think different. Rather than chase the money, plan the money. And then that way you've got a foundation to work on, and then you just build on it every single day. So I hope that makes sense. By all means, drop your comments below. I will answer them. I do answer every one of them. And if you're stuck, I'm very easy found. Just drop in the description, you'll find my contact details. So as always, guys, trade well, keep your risk managed, but above all, do what you love, and the money will follow. See you all in the next one.